So this here is a 7x7 Rubik's Cube. A few days ago, I went to a party and there was one of these sitting around. So basically, I spent that whole night just playing with that Rubik's Cube. I couldn't solve the traditional like 3x3 Rubik's Cube, and I got home and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be able to do it. I'm gonna do it. My little brother can do a Rubik's Cube in like 10 seconds. I better be able to figure this out. So I went out, picked out one of these, and basically spent all of yesterday learning how to do this. And check this out. Actually, we should go into time-lapse mode. Took me 1 hour and 1 minute to complete this guy. Now, is that fast? No. People that are good at Rubik's Cubes can finish this whole thing in like 5 minutes. Now, what I find really interesting about Rubik's Cubes is that it's just like a lot of other things in life where you look at it and you go, that's impossible. But as soon as you go, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to do it. How? I don't know, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna play with it a little bit, do a little bit of research. When I get stuck, I figure that out, try a new strategy, you know, and it just keeps going in a circle. And then all of a sudden, something that looked so impossible to you just a few days ago can become something that you can consider easy and simple. All it takes is a little bit of focus, time, and motivation, and you can just about achieve anything you want, except for to pull manual focus better than a lot of these modern cameras. So let's talk about that. I see way too many people using manual focus that shouldn't be, and I always ask them, like, why are you using manual focus? Well, our movie says they only use manual focus. The pros do it, I'm gonna do it the same way. And it's true, because cameras like the Red or Arri Alexa or basically any cinema lens, they don't even offer autofocus, because autofocus is great right now, but it's not perfect. The biggest thing you need to be careful of when you're doing manual focus is getting your focus not 100% sharp, but 80 to 90% there, because if you're looking at a monitor this size, it's gonna look good to your eye. You're gonna be like, this is a great shot. You blow it up on that big 50-inch screen, you're gonna be like, oh, crap. So what exactly do you need to do to get good, perfect manual focus? Well, first of all, this monitor is not gonna get you very far, so you're gonna need a bigger monitor. I usually run a 7-inch, but sometimes you can get away with a nice sharp 5-inch, but definitely that 7-incher makes me feel a lot more comfortable. And these are usually loaded with focusing tools and magnification, so you could get that critical perfect focus. This will allow someone to focus from the side, but also has this marking disc. Have your second AC, which is a second assistant camera, go up to the actors, put some labels by their feet. So when an actor goes from Mark A to Mark B, you rack this from Mark A to Mark B also. And on some legit setups, you could rent this expensive thing called Cinetape, which is a little thing that sits up here, and it gives you a constant readout of how far the subject is. As the technology improves on wireless follow focus systems, they're becoming more and more common. So that's when you want to replace something like this with a wireless motor and a wireless controller. And additionally, if you want to put this thing onto a gimbal like a Movi Pro, you're gonna have to go fully wireless. So you're gonna have to take a wireless video feed, slap this monitor somewhere else. And of course, most importantly, you need someone to operate this with a ton of skill. Professional first ACs, they're not just people that know how to generally rack focus. I mean, it's a major part of their career. So they get really, really good at it. Sam actually does professional second AC work. And what does a second AC do?
A second AC basically does all the work that the AC is too busy for because he's focusing. So we swap lenses, we charge batteries like a ninja. We just anything you need. Bah, 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 bah.
Getting perfect focus, still not an easy task, but let's go talk to some more people. I've snuck into the Dope Squad HQ to get a second opinion.
Dramatic. Oh,
that wasn't as dramatic as we were intending, but
didn't work out. I feel like I don't have that many lenses, to be honest. But you wanted to see the manual lenses?
Yeah, look at this Zeiss lens. This one was a classic.
Oh, I love this thing. Yeah, I probably haven't used this in forever. It makes sense to use autofocus. Do you use autofocus all the time?
Yeah, I'm on autofocus right now.
Yeah, there you go.
I find that with manual focus, sure, you feel like you get a little more control, but it's really, really difficult to get perfect focus. You're usually getting like 90% of the way there.
Yeah, I think you have to either have like a bigger monitor and have like peaking on and stuff like that if you're manual focusing. But yeah, autofocus is really good. I think when the C300 Mark II, which I have here, that's when autofocus got legit for even the cinema world. And so I bought this camera, and I actually rely on autofocus a lot when I was shooting docs and stuff like that. Not all the time. There's a time and place for it.
There always comes a point where the technology surpasses a general human ability, and I feel like that's kind of what's going on right now with driverless cars. Autonomous cars are having less accidents per mile than a regular driver. So soon enough, it's going to get to the point where our grandkids are going to be like, wait, they used to actually let you drive these cars, and people used to die off this?
How dangerous is that?
Wow. Yeah, I can't believe people used to die because you
Do you want to go drive to the restaurant now?
No, I think I'm gonna walk home to California from here now. Like 10 years ago, this would be a completely different conversation. Like you would never touch autofocus on a professional camera, but then the C300 came along, completely changed the game with the dual pixel autofocus, because all of a sudden, now, unless you're a trained AC, autofocus can a lot of times be sharper and faster than you trying to like manually focus it in front of a monitor.
Especially if you're like on a gimbal or something like that. Like it's so much easier just to use an autofocus lens, like the setup, you gotta have an extra crew member, all that stuff if you're using manual focus. So
autofocus is gonna get it to that spot where it's like dead on. So
yeah, did you know that I have a first AC for all my YouTube videos? That's the first thing I did. Hired a first AC. It's a little bit non-conventional, but yeah.
What's this monitor here for?
Yeah, that's the small HD 502. So that's what I'm talking about. When I'm doing the manual focusing, I need to be able to actually see. Plus, as a DP, I think that's like the main thing nowadays you should have, because you might be using whatever camera they give you, but you can always rely on your monitor. You can have your, LUTs in there. You can have your presets for like what kind of tools you're using. As soon as I got that for DPing, I was like, I felt so much more comfortable no matter what the situation was, no matter what the camera was.
A first AC is gonna know exactly when to focus on what and at what speed. There's almost an art to it.
There's like times where you're kind of like following a character, but then you see another character and you're like, oh, I wanna focus on that one. And like, instead of like moving the focus spot or like touching on the screen or something like that, like you kind of want to have that manual of like how fast you focus on that second subject or whatever. So there's definitely times where autofocus still isn't good enough.
Hey, I dare you to just hit one of those switches. Yeah. Just change a couple knobs around, see if he notices.
It's like saying I dare you to jump off this building. I'm not gonna do that. No.
Pull up to go up.
Easy, I got it.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it.
This video should be Maddie's first time flying a helicopter.
Don't be scared that I'm wearing a helmet and you guys aren't.
You think that helmet's gonna help you if you get in a...
There's a video that we did on auto rotations. So it's an emergency procedure in a helicopter, and not many people realize you can glide in helicopters. The fact that you're up and falling, the air goes through the forces through the disc, and you're blowing a pinwheel and it spins the blades.
Yeah.
Same thing. So as long as you have height, you have safety.
So you like start dropping, and then right before you hit the ground, you're like, whoop, and it goes.
You pull pitch.
And then
exactly.
you hopefully. Yeah. That sounds terrifying. So another thing to definitely keep in mind is that we have very limited selective attention. So, in case Maddie Hapoya asks you if you want to go on a helicopter ride with Chris Nicholas, and you go, yeah, if you're running manual focus, a majority of your attention is gonna be on racking that critical focus rather than enjoying the helicopter ride. And of course, there's exceptions to all this. For example, if you're shooting an interview and you know your subject's not gonna move, or if you're filming a product, then manual focus all the way. And of course, you need a camera with pretty good autofocus. But over the last few years, autofocus has come so far, so fast that even this Canon M50 that I have right here, this EOS R, A7 III, A6400, all really good. Oh my God, did it just start raining?
Yeah.
That is a rainbow, and it's raining out of nowhere. It was like sunny and nice. But we're gonna do a quick competition here. We have the EOS R, and we're gonna see if we can rack focus better than the EOS R. And we got a pretty difficult lens to focus here. This is the 85mm f1.8, and we got the ND filter on there, so aperture's wide open. We're gonna get those shallow depth of field. No, there's no way us mortals can compete with that. I mean, come on. The hardest part about manual focusing is when you have just the subject and there's no real guides or markers around and the subject goes soft, it's kind of hard to tell if you racked focus too fast or not fast enough. So then you have to do a whole bunch of hunting to try to find out where it is. Dual pixel autofocus somehow knows which direction to go to. Come on, yeah, there we go. Dual pixel autofocus basically nailed it 100%. every time. Artificial intelligence, guys, is gonna take over. There's no avoiding it. And again, do not overestimate how good your selective attention is. If you're focused on getting that super critical focus during your shot, you're gonna miss a whole lot of other stuff that's going on in your frame. You guys might have seen this video where it was like, count the number of times this basketball gets passed, and then they pass it around and there's a couple other basketball players passing balls around. But then after the video ends, they usually ask you, hey, did you notice that there was a person in a gorilla costume that walked straight through the frame? And then surprisingly, most people don't realize it until they rewind the video clip and they look at it. And I found that to be the same thing in racking manual focus. Even if you have tools like focus peaking on your monitor, you're so focused on making sure those red outlines come out in front of your subjects that you're just like totally not even thinking about what else is going on in your frame. And sometimes I'll see guys that are just kind of like manual focusing and they're not even like paying that much attention to their screen. They're just like, yeah, it looks generally sharp. As soon as you bring that footage into your computer, you're gonna realize all this footage is softer than, well, I was gonna make a Viagra joke, but I'm trying to keep this channel PG. So yeah, if you're even thinking about doing manual focus, then you're definitely gonna wanna hook yourself up with one of these. Many options to choose from cheap to expensive and different sizes. But generally the things I look for is a nice 7-inch monitor. That way I don't have to look super closely into this monitor, and it gives me enough confidence that it's gonna be sharp. And I also like them to have full HD, so 1920 by 1080 resolution. Not totally necessary, but if you're filming 4K, then it definitely helps to get as much resolution on the screen as possible. Some monitors have just HDMI, some just have SDI, but preferably both if you want to future-proof your monitor. Consider what kind of battery plates that they come with. This small HD can accept both, so the very common Sony batteries or the Canon LPE6 that like this EOS R uses. You also definitely want to find yourself a nice bright one, especially if you're going to be doing any sort of filming outside. Now, brightness is measured in nits, or basically candela per square meter, and you generally want it to be about 1,000 or over if you're gonna film outside, which is nice now because a few years ago all of them were about like 350, 400 nits, and as soon as you get it outside you definitely need a shade and you need to try to get it as dark as possible to try to see the monitor clearly. But now a lot of these are pushing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 nits, and those you could take in direct sunlight and still generally see your screen. So that's another thing to consider. The two brands that I'm personally a big fan of is Small HD and also TV Logic. They have all the general professional tools you might want like LUTs, focus, peaking, magnification, and then they also have 1/4-inch threads all over the place because you never really know how you're going to want to mount it onto your camera. So this is going to give you many options. The issue is that they're expensive. I think they are a good long-term investment if you can swing that high price tag. Lower cost option is something kind of like this FeelWorld Ultra Bright monitor. This comes in at a fraction of the price point, and I've been generally impressed with it. It's definitely not up to the level of a professional monitor. This is a much lighter plastic. I've probably put about 50 hours of use into this monitor so far, and it generally works, and it's sharp enough to where I can pull focus on. I'm not a huge fan of the user interface. There's only a few buttons to use. Also, out of the box, it didn't look super calibrated, so I had to go into the menu and just darken the image a little bit, but that's not that hard to do. Also, keep in mind that there's only one mounting point on the bottom, so if you want to attach accessories, like sometimes you want to attach like a Teradek receiver or something like that, you're gonna have to come up with some creative solutions. And also, I can't say for sure what the longevity of this monitor is. I doubt that it'll last as long as the pro level monitors, but you know, if you're shooting on a DSLR and you're using manual lenses, this is gonna be a huge step up from what you're using right now. So in that sense, I can recommend it. This is a monitor that Portkey sent me, and I kind of feel like a dick because they sent this to me for free. This is a monitor that I was very excited to use, but the issue I started noticing after I put it through about like 100 or 200 hours worth of use was that it started doing some ghosting. So it doesn't really become the best monitor to pull focus off. And that's the thing with off-brand monitors, is that they may be attractive because they're inexpensive, but there's a lot of issues that might potentially come up that you can't really see by looking at the spec sheet. You kind of have to test it out, and it's still a pretty cool monitor. It's nice to have, definitely something impressive to show to your clients. And also it comes in a hard case, so you slap on a hard cover on the front and back and you could just travel with it. Fits on a light stand. It has a lot of mounting points up top, and it It has a lot of professional features, like right now it's running off a V-mount battery, plenty of SDI ports, HDMI ports. So I still consider it to be pretty cool, but if you can swing it again, I would still go mainstream monitors. And of course, if you do want to go more lighter and compact, there are 5-inch options out there, and these definitely fit a bit nicer onto smaller cameras like a DSLR. For example, the small HD focus is a super popular one, and I hear a lot of great things about that. Zhiyun sent me one and it seems pretty good, but it sometimes has this issue where part of the frame is a little bit ahead of the other. So an exaggerated example of it would be if I was like walking like this, it would look like that. It wouldn't be nearly as bad as that. It would look more realistically like this. It's not nearly as bad. You still plenty to pull focus off. I think it's just off by a frame or whatever. But again, these are the type of issues that you might start to recognize if you go slightly off brand. Anyways, let's close this off by reading a few comments from my last video, which was my little road trip to San Diego, and I brought this little lens with me, 85mm f1.8. Top comment is from Camera Conspiracies. If it's longer than 35mm, I pee on it. You should name your dog Jatato Pet. You officially got a new name now. Yoga Jatato Pet. Downward Dog. Yamaste. Dude, I just realized something. You look like the kid from Indiana Jones. No. Javen or Javin or Haven, however you say your name. You don't need to start any new trends, okay? I've had enough torture. Justin asks, why do YouTubers buy Red cameras, but a lot of top movies are shot on Arri cameras? That's a really good question, and I actually made a whole 30-minute video about Red versus Arri Alexa. So if you just want to burn the next 30 minutes of your life watching me, go ahead and click that link. But generally, I think a lot of it comes down to the price point. The least expensive Arri Alexa is very similar to the price of the most expensive Red. Also, Red cameras are easy to use for solo operation. You have to do manual focus still, but just the way it's designed, it can be more compact. It's still a cinema camera, but it's closer to a run and gun style camera than the Arri Alexa. Did your dog grow his leg back? Where's your arm? No. Her arm's still missing. There's 4 dogs, so it's really hard to take all dogs around. We try to rotate them around. Last time we went to Santa Barbara, we took Chicky and Jatato Pet. Lefty will be coming with us when we go to San Francisco next time. Married with Wanderlust says, why didn't you take me with you? You're fired. San Diego is my hometown and miss it dearly. I don't know, maybe next time I'm in San Diego, I'll do like a little meetup or something. I don't know how those work. It's always cool when I bump into some of you guys in person. But how do you like organize meetups? Like, how's that even work? Do I just like post on Instagram, hey, I'm in San Diego today. Later, I'm gonna go to this place. Come meet me there if you want. And then I go there and no one shows up. Is that how it works? Anyways, why am I still talking? This video is way over 10 minutes. I'm just wasting effort now. I'm gonna go play with doggies. Bye.